All right. Yes, exactly. I am here to prove you all that participating in an MEV smoothing pool when you are a validator in Ethereum is a no-brainer. And we're going to talk about when is it a no-brainer and when it makes less of a difference. All right. So let's start with this. 90% more rewards. How does this sound? You don't have to do anything, and you can get 90% more rewards by participating into a smoothing pool. The only thing you need to do is change your fee recipient to the smart contract of the smoothing pool. You don't have to change the withdrawal address. You don't have to do anything. Now, does this sound right? I see some faces there going like, nah. Well, I'm going to prove it to you. All right. You're a solo staker. That means that you propose less than 3 blocks a year. Actually, 271 blocks a year. That's with the number of today, 971,000 validators. Now, execution rewards have a huge variance, and it's very hard to have a predictable reward, because if you get big MEV blocks, you get a higher reward. If you get small MEV blocks or no MEV blocks, you get no reward. You can't rely on luck. But you can be lucky. But it's impossible to know a priori whether you're going to be the lucky ones or not. What does it mean to be lucky, and what does it mean to not be lucky? So let's imagine 2 validators, 2 home stakers with their Dappnodes over there. Alice is very lucky, and Bob is less lucky. Alice proposes in a year 6 blocks with huge MEV rewards. And Bob barely proposes one, and it has a very shitty MEV reward. Now, it's better to be Alice than to be Bob. But you cannot know in advance whether you're going to be like Alice or you're going to be like Bob. Alice is happy. Bob is sad. OK, let's see an example of what do we mean with a high MEV payoff. It's, for example, almost 200 ETH. Alice is very happy. And the only block that Bob has proposed is 0.00001 ETH. Bob is not happy. Let's look at more examples about what it means to be unlucky. There's a thing called the luck factor. If you're validators, you're probably aware of this. And basically, it means how close are you to what you should have received if you were closer to these 2.71 blocks per year that we were talking about, right? So there's people that are this is actually a member of the Dappnode community, and he's been so unlucky. He has proposed absolutely 0 blocks so far. I do not know since when, but that could happen. That could happen. All right. So what is the solution to cover your ass against not being Bob? The solution is to send your execution rewards. All solo stakers should send execution rewards to a common pool. And from this common pool, we divide equally the rewards among all of the participants. This way, execution rewards are smoothed. Now, how do we do this? Well, first of all, why does it make sense? Why is this true? Because we have a huge power distribution on how MEV is distributed. There is, if you put every single block ordered by MEV reward, you're going to find that very, very few blocks have a huge MEV reward. And most of them, there's a long tail with lower MEV reward. OK? So that means that the median, that is the reward where 50% of the blocks have more MEV and the other 50% have less MEV, that is closer to what you're going to get as a solo staker with 2.71 blocks a year, with 3 blocks a year. And it means that the average moves towards this because the average is half of the area of this curve. So it moves a lot closer to a much higher reward. OK? So far, so good. Everybody following? OK. Now, we can see this data from Flashbots. Flashbot has this endpoint, this data that they have, and with MEV, the average block reward is 1.13 ETH, and the median block reward is 0.05 ETH. Okay. Now, data as of today. I took this data this morning. A participant, well, the expected MEV reward for a solo validator in a year, going from this data from Flashbots, is 0.15 ETH in execution rewards. Again, we're not talking about consensus rewards. We're only talking about execution rewards, okay? 0.15. As of today, the expected rewards for a smooth validator in 1 year is of 0.33. Okay? That is 120% more rewards. Now, I'm cheating because the smoothing pool has a function that is a donation function. And you can donate to the smoothing pool, and every single validator, the donation will be distributed equally among all the participants in the smoothing pool. Now, we put 5 ETH Dappnode to incentivize people to participate in the smoothing pool. Now, if you take this 5 ETH out, you still get 90% more rewards as a participant in the smoothing pool than not being in a smoothing pool, just because of this effect of moving from the median towards the average. Okay? And that is after subtracting a 7% fee that is in the smoothing pool. 90% more rewards if there were no donations, which there's no reason to think that there's going to be no more donations. We're going to talk about this later. All right, so how does the MEV smoothing pool works? It has 3 parts: an oracle, a contract, a smart contract, and a front end. And the oracle takes care of the off-chain calculations for the rewards, and it creates a Merkle root, and it commits this Merkle root in the smart contract. So here we see that the users manage their validators through this UI. They sign up, they send their execution rewards to the smart contract, and once the oracle has committed the state root of the rewards into the smart contract, through the UI, the users can claim back these rewards. Penalties. If you miss 1 block, nothing happens. It's a warning. You get a yellow card. If you miss 2 blocks, you're a lazy validator. You get a red card. You don't accumulate more rewards, but you also don't lose because you might be, you might be down, you might be unlucky. We're trying to be permissive here because we're dealing with solo stakers, and they're not expected to have a huge uptime, or they're not expected to keep track all of the time. Their errors might happen, and we're trying to be permissive. And if you cheat, what does it mean, cheating? It means that you send your MEV reward outside of the MEV smoothing pool, then you're banned forever, and all of the rewards that you had accumulated, you cannot claim them. It is impossible, and we'll see how, it is impossible to take rewards from the pool if they don't belong to you. We'll see how. All right. Oracle, things to know, anyone can run the Oracle. All of the data is only on-chain, and everybody can reproduce the Oracle. Now, the Oracle, the smart contract is a multi-Oracle, and it accepts an N of M quorum, and you have to be whitelisted in order to submit the Merkle root into the smart contract. Now, speaking of the smart contract is a pool. So basically, that's where you send all of your rewards, and when you're allowed to claim, you can claim your rewards from there. It also tracks the subscriptions and unsubscriptions. We're going to talk about the types of subscriptions in a minute. Front end, you can manage everything from the front end, subscribe validators, unsubscribe them, claim rewards, and it guides you on all the steps that you need to do to change your free recipient, and it even checks whether you're subscribed to an MEV relay or not. So it basically guides you. Now, what do you need to join the MEV smoothing pool and earn 90% more rewards than you would, or 120% more rewards than you would as being on your own? Well, you need to have an active validator, otherwise there's 90% of 0, it's 0. So you wouldn't have anything. You need to deposit collateral of 0.01. This is an anti-spam measure. So people cannot just sign up into the pool and then never participate into the pool. You have to change your fee recipient to the smoothing pool contract. And you have to have a withdrawal address because you manage your validators, you manage everything from your withdrawal address. There's two ways to join. Manual subscription, meaning you put the 0.01 ETH into the pool to subscribe manually. But you can also do automatic subscription. Automatic subscription is you change your fee recipient to the smoothing pool. And as soon as you put the first block in there, we know that you're trying to participate in the smoothing pool, and we start tracking you and allocating rewards to you. Now, the optimal way of doing it is obviously through a manual subscription, because otherwise you need to wait until you actually propose a block for the automatic subscription to kick in. Important to know, you can always leave at any time. Bad actors, people who are trying to cheat. Those are validators with the wrong fee recipient, means that people that are trying to get rewards from Smooth, but they're not contributing to Smooth. And there's the lazy validators, the people that are accumulating rewards, but they're actually not contributing to the pool because they're offline. They're not actively trying to cheat, but they're lazy. So if the block has wrong fee recipient, you lose your collateral, and you are banned. You cannot participate anymore. Second protection, you cannot claim until your first block is proposed. And you can only claim whatever you have accumulated since your subscription, automatic or manual, until the block. So that's how we make sure that during this period you obviously were not trying to cheat. Okay? We're going to talk about accumulated and claimable rewards in a second, and I think I already talked about yellow, red, and banned. Let's see how this works. I subscribe to the pool, manual or automatic, it doesn't matter. And I start accumulating rewards. At T1, I haven't proposed the block, but if I go into the UI, I can see that I have some rewards accumulated. Now, I cannot claim these rewards, and I will only be able to claim these rewards when I propose a block. Then the accumulated rewards become claimable rewards. And I can take this out and do a party at home with all my rewards. Now, important here. At time 3 where you haven't proposed a block, you're accumulating rewards, but you can only claim since here. This is an anti-cheating mechanism. This is what makes it so impossible to cheat. Because if you propose a block, now, if the next block that you propose does not have the fee recipient set as the smooth, you keep the MEV rewards yourself, all of these accumulated rewards will get distributed to the pool. Now, penalties. Yellow card. Same, I subscribe, I don't propose a block, but I miss a block. Nothing happens, I keep accumulating rewards, no problem, okay? Now, what happens if I miss 2 blocks? Okay, now you're being lazy. Now you get a red card. Because we're trying not to penalize a lot, and you actually haven't tried to actively cheat the pool, you have accumulated rewards until the point where your second block has not been proposed. But from here onwards, now you're not accumulating any rewards until you propose a block. When you propose the next block, you'll be able to claim until here, and then you'll start accumulating as if you were on the subscription. Okay? Good, that's how it works. That's basically how it works. That's why it's impossible to cheat. You cannot take anything out of the pool unless you contribute to the pool. All right? Now, MEV is a centralizing force that plays against the home staker. That's why we built the smoothing pool. You'll realize that big operators, centralized exchanges, big pools, they naturally have a smoothing effect. That means that if you get a lottery block that goes into a Lido validator, it's not this one Lido validator that gets all the lottery block. No, it smoothens out across all the Lido validators, which means that nonsensically, pools and centralized parties have higher APR of execution rewards than home stakers. That's a huge centralizing force that goes against the ethos of Ethereum. MEV is a centralizing force. So with the smoothing pool, we try to level the playing field and go at least at the same level as the staking pools. The benefits are very clear. You stop depending on luck because you keep accumulating rewards no matter whether you propose a block or not. You'll still need to propose a block in order to withdraw what you have accumulated, but you keep accumulating during the whole period. Now, you don't miss high fee season. A few days ago, and still right now, we're having a lot higher fees than usual, meaning that people that propose a block right now, they're very happy because they're getting more than what they would have gotten 3 weeks ago. If you participate into the pool, you're always catching part of the action. And finally, and what people know it the most, is the MEV lottery blocks. Of course, you gain all of the exposure to these lottery blocks from all of the validators that are in the pool. Meaning that if you propose 2.71 blogs a year, and we've seen how much of a power distribution that was, it is highly unlikely that you'll get a lottery block. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. But participating in the smoothing pool, you get exposure, a lot more exposure to lottery blocks. So you get the same smoothing effect that we were talking about Lido validators, right, or big pool validators. Now, why? So I hinted at we built this because we want to level the playing field. And why do we want to level the playing field? Because home stakers contribute more to Ethereum than your typical AWS or data center validator, which is one of these big pools. How? Because, so you'll think, consensus-wise, the consensus layer, the consensus rewards, are exactly the same for one and for the other. But there is another entire layer of resilience that depends more on solo stakers than on AWS. So the centralization is a gradient with emerging properties. What does this mean? That if you have one node, you have a centralized system. End of the story. If you have two nodes, you have emerging properties like basic data redundancy, not too much. It's not very decentralized, especially depending on where you run. You have different nodes in different locations. Then you have resilience to natural disasters or a blackout in one particular region. If you have nodes in different power grids, yeah, blackout resilience again. If you have nodes in different political jurisdictions, when Ethereum is declared illegal in one country, you still have lots of nodes in other countries, right? So we can see nodes in different hardware resistance, different implementations of the clients. That's why it's so important, client diversity. You have more resilience to bugs, et cetera, and a whole bunch of system-specific properties that depend on the network for Ethereum, et cetera, et cetera. Now, home staking is the gold standard of decentralization because it works in any country, it works in different political jurisdictions, it works in any machine, et cetera, et cetera. The protocol builders designed it this way so it would be very resilient. It's small and nimble, and it favors variety. We can think that Ethereum is actually quite decentralized, but it's not. Who knows what the Nakamoto coefficient is? Spence, shout it out. That's right, the number of entities required to compromise the network. And in Ethereum, this number is 2. If we think about any type of entities, we're talking geopolitical entities, more than 50% of the network is in United States and Germany. End of the story. This is what I'm talking with AWS validators, okay? So we need a way to reward solo stakers more. Starknet already did this. They airdropped to all of the home stakers, right? There was a lot of trouble, turmoil, some people were left out, et cetera, and that's why we built in the smoothing pool a way to airdrop directly into any single solo staker. You can donate straight to the pool, and you're effectively increasing the APR of every solo staker, making it more attractive. Now, this is Dappnode. We make free open source software for people to be able to run their nodes and also hardware. We have 382 million self-reported as validating on Dappnode, and this is my favorite meme that I created myself. Don't be a DeFi crypto bro, be a Chad Staker. Thank you very much.